Hello. So, even though I'm recording this back to back with my review for Death Stranding, you should not be seeing this until, the end of the week. So, it should be literally, I believe, anywhere between the 17th, 18th, and the 19th. I haven't decided when I'm going to schedule it to release yet. So, this is a personal review of Stranded Deep, and if I keep going back and forth, it's because my feet are starting to hurt. I'm doing this standing. I'm trying to get into good habits. And so I've spent the last hour standing between doing various things. So, Deep Stranded, or Stranded Deep. Stranded Deep. Stranded Deep is literally Robinson Crusoe in modern times in game form. So if you liked reading Robinson Crusoe, Island of Blue Dolphins, Sign of the Beaver, those are all very old books. But if you liked that kind of thing, and you like playing that kind of thing, so like if you like playing No Man's Sky or The Forest, you'll probably like Stranded Deep. The learning curve is very steep. Not as steep as No Man's Sky, but pretty steep because unlike No Man's Sky, you don't end up directly in an environment that will kill you just by breathing. Um, they do have a basic tutorial that you can turn off once you've played it a few times and you've started learning what you need to build to survive right away. And the point of the game is to gather resources, create things to be able to build your own raft, which is faster than the normal raft that you start out with. You start out with like a blow-up emergency raft and a paddle. And you have to paddle to the closest island, which is your starter island. And, from there you've got to gather the resources to build the basic things that you need, which is a basic lean-to shelter, a water still, a fire, with a fire ring of stones, stuff like that. But once you find an island that you really like, if you want, I'm still learning this part, you can build your own hut, shack, whatever you want to call it. I've seen McMansions in some people's games. People who play in creative or just have been playing so long on the same save file that they've accumulated so many resources to build like 3-story tall huts. Oh, that's my timer, I believe. Yep. So, I've played the game about 60 hours at this point. Most of it has been in the latest because it's still in development. It's not going to be alpha completely released for a while, but it's pretty much done from what I can tell. There's certain little things that are a little annoying that I've put on the Reddit or talked about on Twitter to the developers, just to like let them know that this is a thing, like, because I play with a controller on PC because my hands are all messed up. I've got arthritis or something in my hands. In order to get into the game, you have to hit the return key. You can't even hit the numpad return. You have to hit the actual main return or enter key on your keyboard in order to get into the game. From there, you can use the controller for just about everything. You can't use the controller to name anything. I know that they're going to have to change that for the console release that's going to be coming out. And one of the bugs that I've run into for building anyway is that once you build a foundation and you put a wall there, at least for the wooden foundation, I don't know for any of the other ones yet, you have to, and you change your mind about the wall, any of the walls, by the way, even if you only want to change one wall, you still have to take on all of the walls on this one, basically all 3 or 4 or whatever walls that you have on this one platform, take the platform down, rebuild the platform, and then rebuild the walls. And found this out recently, which was a total waste of resources, because when you craft something, like a wood foundation takes 4 sticks, doesn't sound like much, but bear with me, it takes 4 sticks, and then a normal wall takes 4 sticks, that's a full wall. A half wall takes I think 2 or 3. And so, like, if you build, and then what happened to me is I built a full wall along the back of what was going to be the storage area in this playthrough. I ended up starting over again, and then I changed my mind and wanted to put a half wall instead. So once I tore down all 3 walls and the foundation, I only had enough resources to build, and the stairs, by the way. I had already built the stairs on the platform. I only had enough resources to build the platform and 2 walls, 2 half walls. So I lost basically the equivalent of, I think, 5 or 6 sticks. And since the starter island especially is, the resources on it are small. If you're going to build on a bigger island, make sure it's got like a rock in the middle, because those islands usually have a lot of renewable resources, like bushes, palm sprouts or small palms that you can hit for leaves and stuff like that. You're going to find yourself doing a lot of exploration at first. Okay, moving from island to island, only taking what you need to build a little lean-to and a water still and stuff as you go, so that when you find the place that you want to live, you can just start doing it, because you cannot save or sleep, which is something that you do need, unless you have a lean-to to do so at. So yeah, that's kind of a pain in the ass. As far as I know, you cannot build one of those lean-tos on your raft. I'm going to experiment with that, because if I can do that, if I can build a raft, build a lean-to on it, and build the sail and the rudder, discovered I really don't like the way the steering works with the motor engine on the boat, raft, whatever. So I'm not going to build a motor on my next one. I will try to put the rudder into the middle of my next one instead of on the side. I want to see if I can do that, because if I can build a lean-to, then all I have to do is have the lean-to, 3 to 6 boxes of various things that are items that I would need right away when I go to each place, and these are things that are not renewable, like the spyglass, the binoculars, the lanterns. Lanterns are the greatest thing ever. One, they're rechargeable, they're solar powered, so if they're out in the daytime, they'll turn off when the sun comes up, turn on at night. So like having porch lights or things to light up your storage area at night is pretty cool. Not really necessary though, because you can't really do a whole lot at night anyway. And if you are out at night and you are swimming at night, I wouldn't recommend that on normal mode anyway. Having the lantern will light up the whole environment around you, while having a flashlight will not. So, and of course you can't take torches in the water. I already knew that. It was a joke. Anybody first getting into the game, I would suggest playing either in normal mode with the wildlife removed. That means they take all of the super dangerous things like snakes, giant crabs, giant boars, and sharks out of the game, and they make like the sea snakes non-poisonous, I think, because I think I've swam into them and I've never gotten poisoned. And that'll allow you to see more of how things work. You can still accidentally like break your leg or whatever. It also doesn't remove the sea monsters from the game. There are 3 sea monsters: a giant shark, the megalodon, a giant eel, and a giant squid, or octopus. No, it's a squid, giant squid. I've only run into 2 of them, and I've only seen 1 of them. And let me tell you, do not try to fight them until you've got your hunting skill maxed out. And you've got either a bow and a ton of arrows, which I would not recommend doing it that way, just because the bow doesn't even take down a small boar unless you hit like 3 or 4 times. Or refined spears. Lots and lots of refined spears. Because I only got the Meg down to about half health with, I think it was 12 spears, and and a good portion of it was just dodge, swim, dodge in the water, because the damn thing can jump and grab you and pull you into the water. And if it gets a really good chunk out of you, you'll start bleeding, and then you'll bleed out in the water and die. So, do not do that. Now, if you want to experience the entire game with all of the various creatures, like I'm going to try to do it in my next playthrough, that can hurt you, so that you can learn where they are, what they do, how much it takes to kill them, stuff like that. Play in creative mode. I'm going to probably do that in my next playthrough. It allows you, because you're invincible, basically. And you can experiment with different builds, different things, how to fight, like I said. It'd be cool. But the game is really, really good. And I'm kind of addicted to it right now. I'm taking a break from Death Stranding, for crying out loud, to play it, because I was addicted to Death Stranding to the point where I went back to try to get the rest of the trophies. Anyway, so console release. A lot of people who are interested in the game are waiting for console releases for various reasons for the game. It is going to come out on Xbox and PlayStation. However, Beam Team, that's the developers of Stranded Deep, had a publishing deal with Telltale Interactive. Telltale, as we all know, went under. Okay? Beam Team had to fight for, I think it was like a year, to get the publishing rights back from Telltale and a bunch of other lawyers and crap. They finally got them back. Once they got them back, they had to either go out fishing for a new publisher. I don't know if they did that part or not, or if they're going to self-publish, because they could do it digitally and be just fine. But they had to go back to the drawing board or the starting point on getting approvals for PlayStation and Microsoft. Xbox. Those, when it comes to independent developers, it takes a while. As sometimes we see really stupid crap on Sony, on PlayStation or Xbox, stuff that you were like, they approve this? It does take a while. You have to go through a series of checks and balances to get approved to even launch digitally on their stores. And as we all know, for that, all the people who are PlayStation people anyway, Sony PlayStation has a very rigorous thing that you have to go through. For out loud, they censor games for different parts of the world. So yeah, it'll probably be either later this year or next year before it gets to console. But if you're able to, and this thing will apparently run on a laptop. I won't know if it will run on mine or not. I'm not even going to try it. But it typically can run on a medium-end gaming laptop if you put it on laptop settings. So if you can, check it out. It's not super expensive because it's still in development. It hasn't gone alpha or whatever it's called yet. And yeah, have fun with it. All right, talk at you later. Oh, my mouse went to sleep. Later.